here it is, guys. You wanted to see my life story drawn by me. Enjoy. I was born on the 10th of December 1985 in a small town in Germany called Altena, in our local hospital. My parents didn't have a lot of money back then and already had 2 kids, my 2 sisters, Tanya and Petra. As you might imagine, with 3 kids, the small apartment my family was living in was no longer sufficient. Which is why my family decided to move. With a loan from the bank and a little bit of support from the relatives and the in-laws, my family managed to buy a house with a big garden and quite a bit of land to it. That meant that I grew up with quite a few different kinds of animals, like sheep, cats, geese, chicken, and a few more. It was a happy life. It really was. But then tragedy struck my family when my oldest sister Petra died during school swimming lessons. It broke both of my parents' hearts and their marriage. My mother left because of this. And during the divorce proceedings, I decided to stay with my father. I grew up into a relatively healthy and nice young man. Even though I was a bit geeky. In 2003, I finally graduated from middle school. I thought that I had all the world open to me. But soon I realized I had no money, no job, and no idea what I even wanted to do in my life. I dreaded the idea of joining the military, but since military service was mandatory back then, I didn't think I'd have much of a choice. That's when my mother stepped in and told me I could do substitute military service in a retirement home. She knew of a place and got me a job interview there. Needless to say, I went. I might have been a lazy bum back then, but believe me, I didn't want to go to the military, so I double-timed it over to that nursing home. Sadly, the caretaker position had already been taken by someone else who wanted to do military substitute service. But they had a position open in nursing, which I really didn't want to do. Eventually, though, I really loved it and wanted to make this my profession for the rest of my life. And my dad hated it. When I attended nursing school before, my dad did not support me in the slightest. I had to do everything on my own. Sadly, even that was not enough, because I had a disagreement with my employer at the time, and I had to drop out of nurse training back then. It was around that time that my grandfather started to need help. Since I already had experience in the field, I nursed him from 2005 to 2015, spending 10 years of my life that I would have usually spent to, build a family and learn a trade, taking care of the old man. I was very sad when he died in 2015. But I also saw it as a chance. During the time that I was taking care of my grandfather, though, I discovered ponies. And YouTube. Combine the two together and you have the birth of visual ponies and narrator. I wasn't working at the time, and, well, I couldn't have. My father was furious with me that I would spend time on something that was not earning me money, and taking time away from taking care of my grandfather. He said I should stop YouTube if I was not doing any money with it. That is when one of my dear subscribers, sadly I cannot remember who of you it was, asked me to open a Patreon account so that they could support me. I did, and after my father saw that I made a little bit of money with it, even if it wasn't enough to really support myself, he at least accepted what I was doing. In early 2016 until early 2019, I went back to nursing school, found a better employer. Finally, in March 2019, I got my certification as a certified geriatric nurse. Due to a few arguments I had with my dad and a serious mold problem in his house, I moved out in early 2019. It was the same year in which I asked the love of my life if she would marry me during our panel at Galacon. And she said yes. Sadly again, this year, in 2020, tragedy struck me again. I got a heart attack in late January. Luckily I survived, but due to the lack of uploads that followed this, my inbox in my email account and on certain websites filled up fast. But that is all in the past now. Nowadays I work in a home nursing service, driving from patient to patient and doing my best to help them. While in my free time, producing YouTube videos for you guys. And I can't thank you enough for all the support in these 7 years. And all the wonderful people that I've met. Let's all take a moment for the next 7 years. Thank you all.